Hello, everybody. This is Zach's at it again. I'm your host, Zach Cooley, and I'm honored to be here with distinguished Barter Theatre actor and director of the Barter Players, Miss Sarah Van Deusen. We are here this evening to discuss their appearance. They were on tour with Alice in Wonderland, and they performed at the Millwald Theatre in my hometown of Whitfield, Virginia, and in 45 minutes it was an amazing performance. So, Sarah, as I've already told you, I'm so honored to have you on the program this evening.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Zach. I'm just so pleased to be here.
Well, as I have already told you, I am a big fan of yours personally. During the pandemic, um, the Barter Theatre leased the Moonlight Drive-In Theater and put on productions and kept that place going, kept my career going, gave me something to write about during the pandemic, and those were very, very difficult years for all of us. Gave my family and me really something to look forward to and enjoy. And me being wheelchair bound, I was born with cerebral palsy and wheelchair bound my entire life. So not to have to dress up, not to have to get in and out of the vehicle and navigate a parking space. That was really, really nice for us. And we even got to bring my daughter, who at the time was about 6 years old. She was around 6 or 7 years old during that period. And so she got to go see the plays. And we even brought our dog with us. And our beloved dog, who's no longer with us, she passed away in 2025. But we even got to take her with us. We said that she was a distinguished theater pup because she got to go see all the plays with us. And that's just great memories, and probably one, probably the best memories we have during the pandemic period. So I'm very grateful that you all were able to continue that at such a difficult time.
Oh gosh, we are too. Those are such fond memories. Being in our quarantine bubble and doing plays out of the moonlight was such a special experience, and I'm grateful that we were able to create art during a very difficult time for all of us, and bring some light and some joy into the lives of the people that got to come and escape into the worlds of these different plays and stories. It was a wonderful gift to be a part of that.
Well, in creating that art, you left some indelible, treasured memories for my family and me that we will never forget. So I just wanted you to know how grateful we are. And as a lifelong fan of A Christmas Carol, it's my favorite story ever written. The fact that you did that one, I look forward to, I try to find, because my mother and I share a love for A Christmas Carol. I read it to my wife and daughter every year. Whether my daughter listens to it or not. My wife always listens intensely, but my daughter not so much. But she'll remember that, when she grows up, that her dad read that story, and it comes from a lifelong love of that story that my mother had. So every year, my mother lives on the coast of South Carolina, and every year we come together. It's like a yearly tradition to see, if Barter does A Christmas Carol, or Jacob Marley's Christmas Carol, which is another favorite of mine, by the way. If we try to see those shows every year, and to be able to see that during the pandemic was a really wonderful gift, and I will never forget your role as Mrs. Fezziwig in that particular production.
Well, thank you so much, Zach. That one lives very, very close to my heart. I think it is a timeless story for good reason. The message never gets old, and I think it's a great, great tradition to read that every single year. My dad read the Polar Express to me out loud every single year growing up, and it has stayed with me forever. So I know your daughter will feel the same way about A Christmas Carol.
Absolutely. I do hope so. I think she will. But it's very near and dear to my heart, and being able to treat my mother to that in a year where things were so tight and so difficult was a real gift. And when I heard I would be talking to you, my mind immediately went to Mrs. Fezziwig. Back in those days, Barter allowed you to purchase the video of the digital download of that play for $15. So it is now something. With you as Mrs. Fezziwig, we get to watch you in that role every year now, because it's a part of something my family and I watch every single year.
I'm totally honored. I love that it can live on as a holiday tradition for you all. It was so special to be a part of, and I'm glad that we can bring some holiday joy annually to your family.
It's as much of a Christmas Carol tradition, Sarah, your role as is the Lockhart family and George C. Scott. It's right in there. So.
That's so wonderful. Thank you.
So, and we are here to talk about the Barter Players. You were an actor in the Barter Players when you were doing those shows, and
yes.
and now you are directing the Barter Players, and you took over obviously from another favorite actor of mine, and I probably won't pronounce his last name right, Barrett.
Yes, Barrett Guyton.
Yes. Where has Barrett gone off to now?
So Barrett has moved to Little Rock, Arkansas, to be closer to family. I miss him terribly, but we FaceTime and call regularly and keep in touch. He's one of my dearest friends on this planet. But he was ready to be a little bit closer to family.
Please tell him, speaking of fan gushing, because I told you, Barter actors get me starstruck. So please tell him when you speak to him that Zach Cooley, the reviewer in the wheelchair, he may or may not remember me, but I remember his role. I remember him in The Full Monty. I remember him as in a wonderful role as Lamar in Walking Across Egypt. I think that was one of the most brilliant roles I've ever seen him in, and so many other things. He was so good and played everything with such heart, and he was such a nice person. And I am grateful for the opportunity to have seen him perform as well. Please let him know.
I will absolutely. I'll be talking to him this week, so I'll pass that along, and that's going to mean the world to him.
Great. Well, he's very special person, very special performer.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I know there is, if he's going to leave the Barter Players, I know there's no one more qualified than you to take over. We are very grateful that in your touring for the wonderful performance of Alice in Wonderland that you chose Wytheville and the Millwald Theatre to be a part of your tour.
Yes. The Millwald is a fantastic venue. It was our first time getting to tour to the Millwald, and the players just loved the community there in Wytheville, and they took such good care of our company at the Millwald. It was a really fantastic experience, and we will be back at the Millwald this holiday season with a performance of I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. So we're very excited to be back.
I had heard you were coming back for Christmas. I didn't know if it was safe to announce it yet, but since you have, I can say, yay, that's going to be definitely, definitely a part of our holiday festivities this year. And
Fantastic.
and I'm sorry it won't be a Christmas Carol, but the that story is something I've never seen, so it'll be nice to see that.
It's the same writing team that did the adaptation of Alice in Wonderland.
Oh,
So, for if folks enjoyed that show, it's the same playwright and composer, and it's a really, really sweet production that features a larger-than-life hippopotamus puppet. So, I highly recommend.
a hippopotamus puppet with a qualified puppeteer, no doubt.
Yes, absolutely. That's right.
Well, that sounds very much exciting. But anyway, I have taken up way too much time fan gushing, and let's get to the business at hand, which is the wonderfully whimsical and colorful Alice in Wonderland. Very vibrant, very fast paced. That 45 minutes went by so fast. But I was so glad to see so many children there, and there were so many student, elementary, middle school children there that were there for free thanks to the sponsorship of our wonderful With Bland Foundation. At a nice packed house of over 300 people. I thought that this adaptation, you had a half a dozen brilliant actors, each playing a variety of characters. Each were definitely a triple threat in singing, dancing, and acting. And everybody, as usual, is so good. And so what I'd like to do is kind of discuss each one of them, and I'd like to start out with my personal favorite in the show, and that was Stephen Craddock. Before the show, he was out interacting with the kids in the audience, which I thought was so great because they were loving that, and they were speaking to him and shaking his hand and hugging him, and then he was up on stage performing all these characters. But he could be, very flamboyant and flighty as the King of Hearts, and then he's just incredibly agile as the caterpillar, and just the way he wove in and out of characters and everything done with great humor. He obviously has an incredible sense of humor.
Yes.
That he was my favorite in all the repertoire. So, what can you say about him?
Stephen is just an absolute delight on and off stage. He makes me laugh. You're right. He has a very, very strong sense of humor and comedy on stage and in his personal life. So he is, and he's very physical.
Mm-hmm.
He loves expressing himself through movement and has such an incredible ability to find very specific physical vocabularies that help distinguish the myriad of characters he portrays. So in a snap moment, you know exactly who that character is.
Exactly.
It's a real treasure to get to work with a young actor like that. And he's from the region. He's from Johnson City, went to ETSU, and has been with the players either on tour or in-house here at Barter for about a year, and we're so happy to have him.
That's wonderful. He's in Johnson City. Maybe I can get an interview with him sometime. I would love to meet him.
I'm sure he'd love that. I'd be happy to connect you.
He was fantastic, and he was absolutely my favorite, but everybody was so good. Let's talk about Jay Ruttenberg for a minute.
Jay is one of the kindest people. They put such hard work into the show. Alice doesn't leave stage, basically, for the whole
Right.
production. So it takes a lot of preparation and hard work to pull off a marathon, even though it's 45 minutes. For an actor, that's a high attention to detail in every single moment. And Jay is always so hungry to learn and is such a curious actor. I mean, this whole group, I can't say enough positive things. We actually we rehearsed this entire production from start to finish in 1 week, if you can believe it. So it's a very fast. We always tell students that we meet, what we do on stage is the equivalent of you going to school for 1 week. That same amount of time, that's how fast we rehearsed this play, which I think is pretty amazing, how committed these young artists are. And Jay is fantastic. And actually, Jay also went to school at Emory and Henry up the road.
Oh,
so that's
great.
where they went to college and came out of that program, and just an absolute pleasure to work with.
And Jay was Alice. I mean, she was.
Yes.
She had the precociousness. She had the curiosity. She had the determination. She had the intelligence, and
Yes.
she has an obvious distaste for following the rules, as well as things that are mundane. So
That's
she
right.
is nothing if not out of the box.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And I thought she was brilliant. Everybody was so well cast. And then we come to Tyler Kramer. Now, as I just told you, I have been a big fan of yours for a long time. Tyler Kramer has been a favorite Barter player of mine for many, many years, and I'm so glad that he's still hanging in there with you all. The role I will never forget that Tyler Kramer did was another Moonlight performance when they had a double feature of Dracula and Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and he was Ichabod Crane,
Yes.
and he was absolutely brilliant in that role. And he would say something, like I'm going to do this and I'm going to do the right thing, and they say, well, I will bake you a piece of pumpkin pie, and he would sing, for pumpkin pie I ate, and those 5 words, I think of him singing that line every time I see his name. And he was perfect for the White Rabbit and the mushroom and Uncle Charles and
Yes.
and all those things. He just fell into those roles as he did with Ichabod. So, what do you want to say about Tyler?
Tyler is a national treasure. Tyler, I've been working with Tyler since 2018.
Right.
So Tyler and I have a long-standing creative relationship and friendship. We were on the quarantine together out at the Moonlight, so we spent a year in a bubble, working and doing theater together. I actually directed The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. So Ichabod Crane, we worked very closely on that project together as well. Tyler is just a standout performer and person. You couldn't ask for a kinder guy, and he is also hilarious. He's super imaginative and creative. He always is coming up with. He has an incredible creative impulses that, he'll have ideas about characters that never would have occurred to me in a million years. I'm so grateful that I've gotten to work with Tyler for approaching a decade, and I hope to get to continue working with him for the rest of the time. He's a great, great guy.
Well, since you mentioned that you directed Legend of Sleepy Hollow, I must tell you that the double feature that you all did on Halloween night,
Yes.
with those 2 plays, because my mother loves Halloween. It's her favorite holiday, and she came in from the beach to go with us to that show. My daughter was there, and there was this big, beautiful, orange full moon
I remember.
that was there on Halloween night, and that may be the best Halloween I ever spent in my life. I don't recall a better one.
I think I'd agree with you. We had the best time that Halloween. It was so much fun.
And Terrence Jackson, I've had the pleasure of interviewing him. He came out and in his Thriller jacket, and they said put pictures of your child in their Halloween costumes, and if we like them, we'll put them up on the screen. Well, I put a picture of my daughter dressed as Princess Anna, and she made it up on the screen. And
I love that.
And Terrence Jackson introduced her, and that she absolutely loved Terrence. She said he's my favorite of all the actors, and it just made her day that he made mention of her, and
so sweet.
Yeah, and I got to interview him because he played Tom Robinson in To Kill a Mockingbird, and I had the pleasure of interviewing him for this very podcast. And what an honor and a thrill it was to talk to that man. He just, like everybody else in the Barter Theatre stage, he just oozed talent in every single way.
Yes, Terrence is one of my favorite people on planet Earth. He is a very good friend. We miss him very much.
Yes.
But he's doing great work down at the Oslo Theatre in Florida, and in his hometown, Sarasota, Florida. But oh my gosh, what a talent! And he's just a one of a kind.
He sure is.